Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Oleksandr Usyk versus Luke Partridge, aka Tyson Fury, the rematch. How do I see this one going? Well, as I said in a previous video, I make Usyk a 60-40 favorite. I think he will win again, but I'm certainly not counting Tyson Fury out, for various reasons which I'll come on to. According to the punch stats by Jabba, Usyk outlanded Fury in 10 of the 12 rounds in their first fight, including with high-impact punches. So it's not like he outlanded Fury with little tippy-tap shots. No, he outlanded him with high-impact punches, shots which do damage. There was only that middle portion of the fight between rounds 4 to 6, really, where Usyk struggled. He was landing big shots on Fury in the first 3 rounds, and he was landing big shots on Fury from round 7 onwards. So for Usyk, the only adjustment he really needs to make is to avoid getting hit with the uppercut that was hitting him in rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. He did get caught with one big uppercut in round 7, but he obviously landed his own big shots in that round. And of course, Usyk made that adjustment in the first fight. He was able to take Tyson Fury's uppercut away after maybe round 8, round 9. Took it away, yet was still able to land his own shots. So now that he's been able to review the film of the fight many times, take notes, do his drills in the gym, practicing and sparring and what have you, he'll be even more effective at avoiding getting hit with the uppercut. Because apart from Tyson Fury's uppercut, there was really nothing that bothered Usyk in the first fight. Yeah, Fury landed a couple body shots, but Usyk was able to take him fine. And it's not like you want to get hit with shots like that, obviously. You're trying to avoid those too, but point being, Fury's uppercut to the head was the only punch in the first fight that bothered Oleksandr Usyk. Every other punch was like, whatever. The jabs were barely landing. Usyk had those blocked for the most part, or slipped. And his shots were landed a lot more cleanly than Luke Partridge's shots. So small adjustments for Usyk, rinse and repeat. That's assuming Tyson Fury fights in a similar fashion in this rematch to the way he fought in the first fight. On the back foot, trying to fiddle his way through. If Fury comes out and tries to be aggressive, then of course Usyk's going to have to switch up his tactics. Some people think he might try and hold his ground and punch with Fury, and he might do that if Fury comes at him. But other people think he'll get on his bike and start moving around. And he does have a good back foot game where he can walk you onto shots. I think Tyson Fury is going to try and punch very, very hard in the early rounds of this rematch. I don't know whether he'll be trying to do it on the front foot, in the middle of the ring, or on the back foot. I just feel with the attitude he's coming in with, he's going to try and punch very hard. And the reason for that is because he won't want Oleksandr Usyk putting as much pressure on him early on, as was the case last time. He'll want to try and get some type of respect, or even catch Usyk and stop him in the early rounds. He'd love to do that. So yeah, I anticipate Luke Partridge throwing some big shots early, and that'll be the most dangerous part of the fight for Usyk is the early rounds. The first half of the fight even. That's where Fury may still have the legs to maintain distance and be dangerous with big shots at long range. However, there's a running theme with both of these fighters throughout their careers which manifested itself in the first fight. And unless Tyson Fury can stop Usyk inside the first 7 rounds, then I have to imagine it's going to manifest itself in this rematch as well. And that is the fact that Usyk always comes on strong in the second half of fights. Literally always. And Tyson Fury always fades in the second half of fights. He loses his legs. Always. Yes, even the Tyson Fury, who fought Wilder the second time, arguably the best performance of his career. Go watch that fight back. Fury's keeping his distance very well. He's on the front foot, but he's maintaining range very well in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4. By the time it gets to rounds 5 and 6, Fury starts falling in. This is a very big man. He's not able to keep the strength and energy in his legs and to hold up those big long arms to maintain the range that he had earlier on in the fight. Now, of course, it was academic in that instance because Deontay Wilder was spent. He was unable to take advantage of the fact that Fury wasn't able to maintain range anymore. Whereas against Oleksandr Usyk, it was a totally different story. And this is my biggest concern for Tyson Fury. The fact that he's pushing this narrative, that he was in complete control of the fight, and he just got caught in the 9th round, and that turned the fight on its head. Most of the boxing media are pushing this narrative. And even, and this is the most crucial thing, even Sugar Hill, Fury's own trainer, is pushing this narrative. That all Fury needs to do is not get caught the way he did in the 9th round of the first fight, and he'll win. That's a massive concern, or it should be a massive concern to you if you're a Fury fan. Because the reality is, he started getting caught in the 7th round. It wasn't just one punch in the 9th round. That's absolute nonsense. He started getting caught in the 7th round with big shots again. He was getting caught with big shots in the first 3 rounds. Then from rounds 4 to 6, he was able to avoid the big shots. He put a bit more energy into his movement, but that took it out of him, as did the body shots and the pressure from Usyk. By the 7th round, Fury's legs were slowing down. That's why he started getting caught. Got caught with even more big shots in the 8th, and yet even more big shots still in the 9th. And you'll notice that in that 9th round, Fury's legs were so tired that he was actually standing with Usyk and trading. Any of you noticed that? I'm talking about before that punch landed, which knocked him into the ropes, that resulted in him receiving a count. Before that, go watch the round back. Fury was having to stand and trade with Usyk. Why? Because his legs were gone. I don't mean at that stage from being hurt. I'm talking about from fatigue. His legs were tired, so he could no longer keep distance to avoid being hit. So he thought, okay, I'll trade with Usyk. I'll try and catch him with something big and earn his respect by trading. It backfired. And to his credit, this is something that Teddy Atlas spoke about before the first fight. He said, don't be surprised if Usyk can actually win this fight on the inside. If Fury decides to trade up with him, do not be shocked if the smaller man actually comes out on top, which is counter to what most people would expect. And that's exactly what we saw in the 9th round. That's the only time in the fight where Tyson Fury actually stood toe-to-toe with Usyk, the 9th round. And he came off second best in a major way. And Teddy Atlas always said it's because Fury doesn't have the inside defense to be able to fight Usyk that way. He doesn't have the technical know-how on the inside. Now, personally, I think that there is a way that Fury could fight Usyk on the inside and have success, but of course it would require some adjustments. In any event, as previously stated, Usyk always comes on strong in the second half of fights, and Fury's legs always fade in the second half of fights. And that's not going to change here, if the fight gets to the second half, that is. Therefore, if there are fair judges in this fight, and that's a big if, then I think Tyson Fury needs to go all out to try and stop Usyk in the first 7 rounds. If there are fair judges, I think that's what he needs to do. Go all out, try and hit Usyk wherever he can hit him, and just have it out with him as the bigger man. Will Tyson Fury do that? I don't know, because he's given off contradictory signals. Initially, he was saying that he thinks he needs to knock Usyk out to get a victory, but subsequently he said that he only lost the first fight by a point, so he doesn't really need to change anything for the rematch. So I don't know whether Tyson Fury's gonna come out all guns blazing and look to stop Usyk inside the first 7, or whether he'll fight the same way as last time, or maybe mix and match between the two. All I know is, if he allows this fight to get into the second half, he's going to get hit with a load of big shots all over again. And it remains to be seen whether Tyson Fury's punch resistance was negatively impacted, negatively affected, diminished by the beating he took in the first fight. Because it may have been, in which case, when he starts getting caught with big shots like that again, he won't survive this time. So yeah, I think Fury should go for it, all guns blazing, from the very first round, and try and get Usyk out of there. Yes, it's a gamble, but boxing on the back foot is a gamble as well. A gamble he took last time and it didn't pay off. Everything's a gamble at this level of the game against elite fighters. There are no guarantees. But again, if Tyson Fury thinks that the judges are going to be biased in his favor, especially with these assurances from Turki Al-Sheikh, then maybe he'll say to himself, you know what? Let me just do the same thing as I did last time then, because this time they've got me. This time, they're going to look after me the way I wanted them to look after me in the first fight. If he does that, could he get the nod on the cards? Assuming it gets to the cards. If the judges are sufficiently biased in favor of Fury, it's a possibility. We've seen some horrible decisions in boxing over the years. But as I say, the second half of the fight, if it goes that long, will be the most problematic for Tyson Fury. That crossroads point, that moment where Fury's legs slow up to the extent where he can no longer maintain his range, and Usyk's able to start hitting him at will. If Fury's punch resistance has deteriorated due to the punishment he took first time around, then he won't survive. He'll get stopped. So as I say, everything's a gamble, including our predictions, right? We're making educated guesses. This is heavyweight boxing at the elite level. Both guys can hurt each other. Anything can happen. especially when you introduce the disturbing possibility of bias officiating. Nevertheless, all things considered, I'm going to go with the same result as I predicted for the first fight. Oleksandr Usyk to win this fight on points. I've been dabbling with the possibility of Usyk by stoppage, and that could very well happen. It could definitely happen. But I just get the feeling that Fury will be more mindful of his stamina this time. And so I think he'll load up on big shots early, but that won't last too long. He'll try get into some kind of boxing groove, attempt to do a bit more clinching, but Usyk is very good at resisting clinches. So after an assertive start for Fury in the first couple rounds, where he may have some success, I think after that, he's going to revert back to type, trying to fiddle his way through rounds, but doing it in a more conservative fashion this time. You see, again, a lot of people seem to have missed this. In rounds 4 to 6 in the first fight, the way Fury was moving, switching southpaw and doing all this kind of stuff, that is extremely energy sapping for him. You do realize this, don't you? He's not a 25-year-old man anymore. He's not the same guy that fought Vladimir Klitschko. For him to move around like that, even for a portion of a round, never mind a whole round, takes a lot of energy out of him. So I don't think we'll see Tyson Fury do that so much in this fight. And it's that which actually gave Usyk the trouble in those middle rounds. And so because I don't see him doing that this time, I think it will be a more conservative fight in the middle rounds of the rematch on Fury's part. But ultimately, his legs will still start to fade. And remember, he hit Usyk with body shots in the first fight. Not as many as Usyk hit him with, but he still landed his own body shots. If he's not landing as many body shots on Usyk as he did in their first encounter, then Usyk might be even stronger in the second half of the fight this time. And that's what I reckon we'll see. Fury more careful and a bit more conservative with his punches after the early rounds. Because in the early rounds, again, to reiterate, I think Fury is going to throw some big shots in the early rounds. If he can't get Usyk out of there, then I think from the middle portion of the fight, he'll be conservative. And in the second half of the fight, Usyk is going to come on strong as Fury's legs fade. And I think that will take Usyk to another 12-round points victory. And still, the unified heavyweight champion of the world from Ukraine, Oleksandr Usyk. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Give me yours in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.